there is more to this world out there than that just meets the eye. But then it gets somehow carried away, cast away in our day-to-day workings, right? Got to pay the bills, got to do things, and somehow or other that wonder just dies away. True. Now Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "These living entities are sarvagata." Everywhere there is living entities, the species of life. And I don't know if you felt like that, because I feel like that sometimes we get so buried in work, things to do, that life feels so removed from Krishna. It feels so removed from any kind of spiritual thing. It feels sometimes, yeah, like especially if you live in a big city, and you look out of the window, you just see buildings, concrete jungle everywhere. So life feels like a bit removed from any kind of wonder. Nature, like if I go to Helen or somewhere there's nature, I'm in the mountains, it's easy to feel wonder and spirit and all of those things. But covered in the way we are with bills and expectations and responsibilities and a perennial time crunch, perennial time, just always. Is there anybody here who can say that they don't feel a time crunch at any point in time? There's just something you have to do all the time. You're on the clock. So yeah, just to be able to have time, even the vacation, there is a time crunch. You got to go to cruise, even then there's a time crunch. All the time there's a time crunch. So people, in this kind of a time crunch and race, we lose that wonder. Saying he's sarvagata, all living entities, there's living entities everywhere, but my eyes can't see, you know, and I'm so addicted to trusting my ability to see. That's the problem. I'm so, although I know, don't I won't act on what I see, because of all that I've read over the years, but still there's a deep conditioning that you believe what you see. You believe your senses so much, and if your senses can't perceive it, it's not there. So we are removed from this wonder, and we have taken on this idea, which is a very depressing idea. But I was thinking, like, phase A of the drawing is a person, a kid, a boy, a girl, whatever, a kid sitting in open field, and there's stars, there's planets, there's trees, there's creatures, living entities of all kinds everywhere, right? The trees have their own spirits, the earth has a personality, Bhumi Devi. um, Air is, there's a demigod that controls Vayu. There's something that someone who controls rain. All these personalities everywhere, those that are above us, and then there's those who are below us. Like I was talking about Arabia Mountains, there's creatures, who live inside stone. There's creatures who live inside stone. And you're like, no. There's creatures who live inside fire. And you're like, no, I can't see it. To believe what we can't see, but there is that reality. And we have deliberately, so I was telling you about phase one of that picture. So all these wonderful personalities, um, Gandharvas, different, people who sing, interplanetary musicians. Like you have a big rock show by a big concert, you are wearing this t-shirt and everyone says it's a good t-shirt. But there are, big artists who go from one planet to the other. They're called Gandharvas. They're so melodious. They're so gifted. Their whole ability is they can sing so beautifully, and arts are so gifted in them. So there's so many personalities, there's so many creatures, there's so much life. But we just bulldoze everything, blow up the earth, get some stones, build up buildings, and then work people like slaves inside that. So we're so removed from that wonder. So we've created, like, phase B of this drawing was going to be just erase everything, just a single person on an empty, lonely planet in this vastness of the space, and it's completely sterile. It's just this person, last person existing on this world. That's the reality we have created in this world today. And although we don't want to believe it, deep down somewhere there is a fear that I'm just alone in a meaningless world, living by chance. Actually, I was thinking this is my imagination and my creativity, but actually there's so many psychologists, and there's like surveys that they do. And please, like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not, it's just, I've read about it and I was like, wow, that's exactly what I was thinking. But they explain this late modernity, and they're saying we are going through an era of late modernity, and in this phase everything's in a flux. And there's some special characteristics of this phase. that your identity is up for grabs. You can define who you are. Like there's no religion, there's no moral guides, there's no social expectation, there's no economic, nothing, there's no rules. You define all the rules. So every little while you have to redefine yourself. You have to redefine who you are very carefully, weigh in the situations and redefine who you are. And this is causing an immense increase in anxiety in people. People are having to constantly, and one of there's many features of this, like this is just one feature, many features of this phase. One thing is you just kind of like have a difficult situation, right? Like say there's a difficult situation, you lose something or you lose someone or something happens, but you have a stable idea of who you are. You have a stable idea of what the society expects from you. You have a stable idea of what your duty towards God is. You have some stable idea, right? So when one thing falls apart, then there's other things that are stable and you can kind of lean on them. But what's happening today in this late modernity era is that everything is up for grabs, everything is up for redefinition. So every time something small changes, people have to redefine everything about themselves, and that causes immense stress and anxiety. Era where everything is up for grabs, basically. Like there's no stable ground to fall on. So, and then there's all this kind of speculation, right? The future of the world's gonna be like Hunger Games. These are all futuristic movies, and of course, people are getting these ideas because something's crossing their mind, right? It's crossing their mind because there's some trigger, there's some symptoms, and some people are smart enough to see ahead, and they're like, ah, okay, it's not too far out in the future. If he did something like that, people could relate to it. But this is the interesting thing for me. Like Krishna is giving all the knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. He's saying there's living entities everywhere. He's explaining there's 14 planetary systems in this universe. We are in the middle planetary systems. Middle planetary systems, life is, there's always going to be birth, death, old age, and disease. There's always going to be struggle for existence. It is dangerous at every step. It is not a place to enjoy at all. He's giving the full nature of it, right? And he's telling like the higher planetary systems are like this. These are the kind of luxuries you enjoy there. This is the kind of lifespan you enjoy there. These are the kind of creatures there. All the knowledge is there. But we don't want to learn from what is already there. We want to just erase the blackboard as if nobody's in the room, kind of like just get everybody out of there. Imagine we are alone because that's what we're being told. And then fill that space in our hearts with stuff. And it's not working out. There's a disconnect because there is a difference in substance. Inside of you is the soul. Actually, you are the soul. This is just outside of you, right? It's not that the soul is the reality, but we're feeding the soul stuff. It's not compatible material. Not only are we stuffing ourselves with incompatible things, because we've taken God out of the picture, here's what's happened. Everything's disintegrated because of it. Think about it. If there is no God, if there's nobody, if we just come by chance, we just arrive from nowhere, we're going nowhere, it's just all by chance, then how does it matter? Why is my opinion better than yours? Or why should you listen to him? Or why should he listen to you? Or why should anybody listen to anybody? There's no the supreme. If life doesn't have any meaning beyond the body and its needs, then what is the need to, like, what is the need for anything? It just matter, there's nothing else, then what's the point of anything? And can you see that nihilism, that nihilistic attitude is penetrating the whole society towards? We scrap, see, we have a source. Say, if you don't know me and you walk into the room and you don't talk to me, it's normal, right? I don't expect that she would talk to me. But if she knows me, if we have a relationship, you know me, and you walk in and you pass me by as if I'm not in the room, I'm going to feel it, right? I'm going to totally feel it. I'm like, why is she so cold to me? But the action's the same. She walked in and she didn't talk. Why is the response that I feel different? Because there is an actual relationship and it's being ignored. Can you see that? So in the same way, there is the Supreme Person. We are a soul. We have a connection. We're deliberately ignoring it. And so we have filled up our hearts with this coldness. So all mercy has left. Just and we're feeling awkward because there is a relationship. We're deliberately denying it. This is why we come to the material world, because we're envious of Krishna. And that envy is if we like to feel like we're good people. But if we can start to see how we are envious of Krishna, and actually it's Krishna's kindness. He lets, sometimes when you're envious, even those like those who are more advanced from you spiritually, they might just kind of like let you be. They might not say anything to you. They might not, check you or say like, don't do like this or do like that. That that's not a sign of um, like that's not like a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. Because when someone's envious, just leave them alone, because you don't want to agitate them more. You don't want to trigger them more. You don't want to push them more. So Krishna is doing like that. You're envious. All right, go play in this material world and go play God. And you may say, I don't play God, but you want to enjoy. You want to control, right? You want to enjoy on your own terms and conditions. You don't want me to make your vacation plans, right? You don't want me to decide what you wear to work tomorrow, right? Right? Because we want to enjoy ourselves and we want to control our life ourselves. And it's okay that that's where we are. We're all on a spiritual journey. It's okay, but at least see that that's us trying to pray God, because enjoying and controlling is not our department. Our department is serving. Enjoying and controlling is the Supreme Lord's department. So Krishna just lets you be in the material world because you are trying deliberately to forget Krishna. But actually, it's impossible to forget Krishna. If you're grateful, you can see, like, that's why they say gratitude is the beginning of prayer. But it's not the end of the prayer. It's not the ultimate of the prayer. There's more, you know. But gratitude is the beginning of prayer. Love is that exists when there is no reason for anything to exist. There's no reason for it, but still it's existing. But gratitude is a beginning that, oh, I have water, I have food. To get water and food, you have an ability to drink it. There's some people who can't even go to the toilet themselves. But we can be so lost in the pursuit of things that we can forget that, you know, we have a lot given to us by God. And the sign that we are not grateful for it is that we are not using it in Krishna's service. But the Lord's given us so much, but we don't acknowledge it, and we definitely don't acknowledge it. We know the proof is that we don't use it in service. And that's why I always say, like, devotional service is so important, because it helps us get the taste of what it feels like to be in our constitutional position. That, oh, I'm going to use my tongue to glorify, activities that are spiritually progressive. I'm going to use my hands to maybe move the furniture so everyone can sit comfortably here, like little things. So the sign that you're acknowledging genuinely feeling gratitude is that you use what has been given in service of the Lord. That's the beginning of prayer. So no matter what religion you follow, this principle is the same, right? No matter whether it's with God or with a person, when you love, this is a principle. You are acknowledging what the other person has done. What happens in a relationship when all you do is, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that, you don't know, right? You have to constantly see what is the right the other person does, right? Because most of us, almost all the time, are making mistakes. And the whole world is there to find your mistakes. But those who love you, if they can't see the good things that you do, then you will stop seeing the good things that you do too. You see, that's why the association makes such a difference to us. So in this, it's the same that applies to Krishna. You know, this when we actually acknowledge a relationship, we want to do something in love. We want to appreciate what we have. So what we experience in this material world is just a perverted reflection of the real reality that exists. It's just a perverted reflection of real love for the Supreme. So this mentality, we sometimes think there is this problem in the world, this economic problem, or that economic problem, or this policy problem, or this person's a problem in my life, or that person's problem. Actually, nobody's a problem. We have envy of Krishna, and because of which we're trying to play God, and because of that, we have all these issues with all these kind of people. So simply by directing, and it's okay if you're like that, because to think you're not like that is actually a bigger illusion. If you can see that you're like that, you're already made a lot of progress. It's okay if you're like that, but we just need to pick ourselves from there and redirect that energy. So really just pointing out, in every society there is some set of scriptural rules and regulations. So maybe in some society it's like you said, somebody said Bible, somebody said something else. Like there's so many different scriptures out there, but there's some, even if you go to the wild and you see like people completely removed from civilization, living in nature, praying to the spirits, even they have their rules and regulations. That everybody in any society where there's human beings, there are some scriptural rules and regulations. It's there. It's just natural. It should make you think that there must be something. Why it's like over and over again, you just see it everywhere. So he's making, and he's saying some people have the tendency to follow them, but the others, even though they know they don't want to follow them, these guys, he has a guru also. Even demons have gurus, but they misapply it. They use the guru to teach them how to become powerful, not who is the most powerful and how I worship them. And lust. And you can see in this verse, like this mentality, the whole world's philosophy can be summarized. They say this: the world is unreal. So pretty much like, we're just matter. We just come from wherever. It has no foundation, no God in control. No, it has no cause. This world has no cause other than lust. No. But somehow we're going to discover our purpose in this vast expanse of meaninglessness. We have to define our own meaning. But actually, there is a reason we come to this world. We come to this world to make contact with Krishna. There's contact points all over. The purpose of the material world is not for us to enjoy it. The purpose of the material world is for us to wake up like this is a bumpy dream. Get up, get up, get up. It's not worked for so many times. Get up. But like, I'm enjoying. How can you enjoy? Life is meant to be, you're supposed to enjoy. God has given you this body so you can enjoy. Where did God say that I've given you this body to enjoy? Which scripture did you read? But it's a mantra, it's a self-made prophecy. It's a self-made mantra, you see? Look at your little finger. Look at your little finger carefully. And tell me the way in which you can enjoy with this little finger. Maybe you can clean your eye, right? Do that. Just rub your ear. That's it, right? Second question. Now look at this little finger again and tell me all the ways in which you can suffer because of this little finger. Tell me. Rip your nails, break it. What else? Smash it, burn it. What else? Cut it, gangrene. In fact, you'll see that there's many more ways in which this can give you suffering than it can give you pleasure. And also the extent of suffering it can give you is way more than the extent of pleasure it can give you, correct or wrong? Now you examine your whole body like this. And if you go to every part, you'll come to the same conclusion that every single part is defined in such a way that it can give you way more suffering. So where does this conclusion that we've been given this body to enjoy come from? It's actually meant to awaken the reality that this is not, the body is a bag of suffering. It's just suffering coming out at different points. Not my concluding thought is, let's not see the world as a world full of people with problems. Let us look at ourselves and our own consciousness and mentality, and let's try to work on transforming it, because as long as we think we're all okay and we're good, we won't have the impetus to change. Only when you start to feel like a little bit of a shake in your world, that's when you have the impetus to change a little bit. It's not a bad thing, it's a nice thing, it's a good thing. It's painful, but actually it's very joyful pain.